I can't.
I'll start it.
No, you can't start.
Welcome to Health Tech Deals, the show which Jessica DaMassa normally does this part, but she can't because she's laughing too much. It must be the February the 9th, 2022 edition, possibly. Yes, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Jessica will stop laughing after the break.
Coffee cup, sir?
I'm just amazed that we finally made it to the show.
What does that say? What does that say? Mama needs some coffee. For our podcast listeners who can't see the size of this coffee cup, it is literally as big as Matthew Holt's head. Mama needs some coffee. Okay.
It had to be enough coffee to last through all the outtakes we just did of you laughing and not doing it.
This is not my fault that you count down with words going in one direction and fingers going in another direction. This is not my fault because you have that giant coffee cup that says Mama needs some coffee. Okay, which is like a dichotomy in and of itself. It's not my fault because M&A all day, my friend.
It rhymes. It's beautiful. It's poetry.
It is.
You're a poet, don't we know?
Remember the meltdown that started this when you were like, everybody just makes fun of me, and I had to talk you down off of that emotional roller coaster because the star of the show needs to be in a good mental health space. Remember all that?
I had no recollection of any of this stuff, but I'm wondering whether I will use the intro that you did properly, or when I do the edit later, or whether I'll use the one that I did, which I thought was much better.
No, I like my intro better.
All right. Are we going to do the show?
Yes.
Go on then.
Oh my God, you go on then. We got great big fat news. 30Madison and Nurx have merged.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is a big one. 30Madison, which is J&J backed and others, has how much did they raise? Like 150, 100, 200 million? Big number. They are a specialty.
More than that.
Well, more than that. They're a specialty online drug pharmacy competitor to Hims, Rome, and all the rest of it. Nurex or NewRx or Nurx, depending on what you call it. I think when it launched the Health 2.0, we called it Nurx. We didn't know how to pronounce it. Combined, they have 750,000 patients, about 300 million in revenue. They're going to get rid of that Nurx brand, so Nurex brand, so we don't have to figure out how to pronounce it anymore. I don't know how much room for how many of these big pharmacy companies there are, but they clearly think there's room for enough. We'll see.
Ooh, I have the differentiating factor in the interview I did with their new CEO.
All right.
Concerto Health acquires Crown Health. Tell me about this, Mr. Holt.
This is home care, people building teams to go into the home and do physician type stuff and clinical stuff in the house. This is happening all over the place. By the way, I didn't realize that Dispatch Health is in this as well, in the hospital and the home space as well. Somewhere else, Concerto Health raised a bunch of money, acquired Crown Health, which is another company doing the same sort of thing in the Northwest.
All right, Kindbody buys Vios Fertility Institute.
Same thing, more M&A, one fertility clinic chain, with some platform buying another one. I think they're up to like 30 or 40 clinics now. Fertility is a big deal for some reason.
Calm merges with Ripple Health. That's interesting.
Don't understand this at all. Huge meditation company, Calm, merges with a startup that's just got a kind of a caregiver app. For no idea what this is about, other than maybe it's an accurate hard to get, because the CEO of Ripple is taking over Calm. Michael Smith is probably going back to his Motley Monsters in London.
Withings buys 8Fit.
8Fit was, this is an interesting deal here, actually. 8Fit has raised like 10 million. It is a bunch of online workout classes things. Maybe we're a bit late in the pandemic with Peloton and these other guys going down because people are now going to the actual gym. I don't know. It's in Germany, of course, so who knows what the hell's going on there. But they were doing about 7 million revenue, so it's a real company. And Withings has the scale and the blood pressure stuff, whatever. I don't quite get the integration, but Withings has done some clever stuff before, sold itself to Nokia and then bought itself back at a much cheaper price. Maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe on that one, yeah. The one I really don't get is the Calm one. I mean,
yeah,
they seem to have nothing to do with each other, other than so. You don't know this, but Michael Smith is actually a pretty good friend of my brother-in-law in the UK. He came out here to start Calm with the guy, his name I can't remember, but the guy who did the $1 million webpage, which is the cleverest thing you've ever. You too young for that?
Maybe.
This guy put up I have to Google his name. He put up a webpage.
Isn't Google the $1 million webpage?
Yeah. Well, you could buy a pixel on the page for $1, and there are 1 million pixels. He sold it 170. He sold tiny ads. Some people big ads. And he sold the whole page and kept it up for 10 years. And he was a student. He made $1 million off this thing. It was genius. Other than his cost of putting it up. So by the end, people were buying squares like crazy, and lots of people went to it. And I wonder if it's still up. I should go look at it after the show. Anyway, he was the other guy.
Journalism happening here. Wow.
He was the other guy in Calm. Ripple, relatively new company, hasn't done much. Got a couple of applications for enterprise caregiving. Baffled as to why it hasn't.
Maybe they want their tech.
Maybe. You don't know what I mean. Who knows where they're going? There must be
I mean, if they've got like a platform that's maybe got like a telehealth infrastructure to it, maybe they want their tech in order to reach into.
But if you're Calm, right, you got to look at what Headspace is in, which acquired Ginger or merged with Ginger, and it's got a real mental health platform. Calm has been doing very well, or was doing very well. The latest numbers growing very fast in terms of meditation. Doesn't make a lot of, this doesn't, I mean, the Ginger Headspace thing makes sense, right? Because it's a point.
Yeah, because of the carrot. Mm-hmm.
This is interesting, whereas the other ones we talked about are all basically buying customers and buying brand extension and buying, the ThirtyMadison and Nurx thing is like, it's the same thing. Nurx has got the,
this is really interesting, though. Actually, they are doubling the number of conditions. ThirtyMadison, with the addition of Nurx, is doubling the number of conditions that they're able to offer, and it's the platform play, obviously, that they're trying to go for, focused on specialty care. So I interviewed, like I said, Steve Gutentag, who's the CEO now of ThirtyMadison, will be the CEO of the entire combined entity, and that one of the best answers I've heard to a question about like who they compete with and how they stand apart. I asked him about how they're different than like Rory and Roe and Hims and Hers, and he was just like, we're about longitudinal specialist care as opposed to just doing like replacing primary care where it's like one visit, let's prescribe the drugs. It's like they've got a whole platform built along this more longitudinal approach.
That's because the drugs don't work. So if you take one shot of Viagra, apparently it works, but if you put one slap of the baldness stuff on that they have, it keeps.
That is not true.
You need to come back as the.
Are you a byproduct of the failure of this? Is that what you're trying to say to me? It clearly did not work.
I have clearly never been a customer of any of these baldness.
Oh, well then I think you should stop.
Or should I start? Should I become a customer?
I don't know. I think you should stop. I think you should stop.
I just moved where my hair was from here to here.
Well, that's okay.
All right. We're now being ridiculous, like this whole show has been, so we should probably get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we become the victim of a hostile takeover M&A and get put out of business, which could be any moment.
You know what we didn't do that we're going to need to do next episode by listener viewer request? Your buddy Ian Morrison wanted us to do a mashup. Who do we think is going to be the two companies that merge together next? Can I put you on the spot? You got to guess? Or you want to think about it and come back next time?
I think a Medical will buy a big CRO.
Oh, that's not very splashy.
Right? I think that. You're asking really splashy. They're buying lots of little things at the moment. They want to buy a big thing. No.
All right.
They're kind of like a Time Warner by AOL buys Time Warner moment.
Transparent buys Omada.
Why the hell would they do that?
I don't know. I'm joking. Splashy.
That would be splashy.
Headline grabbing.
Headline grabbing.
I don't know. All right. For more news that's not news, follow along with us over there on Twitter. I'm at Jess DaMassa. He is at VoltiBoy. And to never miss an episode of Health Tech Deals, sign up for our email newsletter over there at thehealthcareblog.com. The end. Oh, nice lazy pointing there. Drink more coffee, mama. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.